Hello everybody, and welcome to another one of our leadership training videos. In these leadership training videos, what I do is I take you through a few thoughts and ideas that have come from my own personal experience to help you improve your leadership skills, your knowledge, your insights. What makes you more effective as a leader? What are the leadership traits and skills and qualities that you might need to grow your own to new dimensions? My name is Chris Igwe. I have over 35 years experience leading training and developing teams across Europe, Middle East and Africa, but primarily 5 major European markets. The topic we're going to talk about today, I think as leaders, for all of us, we've experienced it in some way, shape or form. And I want to talk about how do you channel negative emotions, could even just be anger, but how do you channel negative emotions as a result of what has happened to you during your leadership in a particular team, department, company, or whatever. And in so doing, I thought to help us unravel that, because we've all had it. We've all had some or many or all of these at some stage in our lives. If not, I put it to you, you're not pushing yourself hard enough. You're not demanding enough of yourself. If none of this has happened to you and you have no negative emotions, you have no anger, all is plain sailing and it's blue skies. If it does, I challenge you on the basis that you're not doing enough to put yourself, quote unquote, into danger, into that point where you go beyond the line. So here are some of the things that might have happened to you that lead to these negative emotions. Maybe you've been hurt in some way. It could be a word, it could be a way in which you've been treated. It could be you're reprimanded. You've been told off for something that you don't think you did wrong, but whoever, maybe your boss or maybe a client or someone says, that wasn't such a great job. You put a report in and you worked really hard, you and your team, and it's told, well, it's not acceptable, and your boss tells you off for it. Reprimanded. Could be you're just ignored in different ways. It could be you're misunderstood, that what you're saying isn't very clear, or what you put forward in a certain time or stage wasn't very clearly understood. Those are a few ideas. Going on for some other ones, and by all means add to this in your own world and what you see. Maybe you've been passed over. A promotion has happened. You felt you were the best man or woman for that role, and yet it didn't happen. You were not given the promotion. It could be that you've been fired, which happens a lot, especially the more senior you get, the more often, whether it's in a quoted stock exchange related company, there's something inappropriate done, or the shareholders are not happy. It doesn't matter how high you are, you can still be fired, removed. Demoted is another one. Maybe they say, well, this is too much for you, you shouldn't be there, we want you to do something else, and you're not happy about it. Could be you've been given a relocation, so a different venue or location for the business or geographical region. You're sent out to a part of the world you never wanted to go to anyway, but you've had to. It could just be that you're not being respected. Maybe that's where color, culture, gender, sexual orientation comes in, and you're not being respected, and that's hurtful to you. So what are some of the steps essentially? So firstly, if you identify with these or with others that you come up with, then that's a good start. And if it hasn't happened to you, like I say, either you're not living on the edge and you haven't pushed yourself, or you're not pushing yourself enough, in which case I'd recommend that you do, because that's how you grow. You take risks, you live on the edge. But then maybe it's simply that you're very lucky. I've had some or several of these happen to me. And I remember one of my dear friends who said to me, you know what, you're very fortunate that at your age, this didn't happen to you before. Not now, this is many, many, many years ago now. But his point was, it happens to all of us. So kind of accept it, embrace it, but it's very hurtful. So what are the steps? Here are just some of the things that I've put forward. Again, please add to them in your own way, but these are my own personal experiences. So on the one hand, and I've said this before in previous videos that I've done, it's about the mindset. It's about having what I described elsewhere as an entrepreneurial mindset. The mindset that nobody's going to get into my space and disturb my belief in myself. Nobody's going to get into my space because I know that I have the mental capacity, the mental power to overcome whatever challenge is being put in front of me. So your mindset has to be right, an absolute rock solid, I can do this. You've got to have absolute faith in yourself, obviously. This could go together, self-belief or faith, depending on how you want to put it. I think they're two separate things, but you've got to have absolute faith that whatever it is you wanted to achieve, you will achieve it. Maybe not in this company, because in the end you may have to move and go somewhere else, or maybe you've been fired or you've been relocated and you have to make future choices. But you know in your heart of hearts that you are absolutely on the right track and you are the best man or woman for this particular role. Self-belief as opposed to self-doubt, none of that. Self-belief has to be, I own this. This is kind of linked. These are all sort of linked in different ways together. But then another part is you still have to have that burning fire of success. So whatever that negative emotion is or that anger that you're feeling at that time, channel that towards a desire to succeed. See what success looks like. See what that sense of achievement looks like in image, in the written form. Maybe it's based on numbers. Maybe it's just based on geography. Maybe it's based on the size of your team. Maybe it's whatever it is. Look at that and say, I absolutely will succeed. So coming back to mindset, you're not going to be overcome. You will succeed. And then of course you've got to have drive and ambition. And to be honest, that should be a no-brainer. If you're in a leadership position, or you want to grow into leadership, or you just want to grow as an individual, so you're not really worried about leading or not, but I suggest that if you're growing into something, then at some stage you will have to lead others anyway. You have to have absolute drive and commitment and ambition to get to where you want to. So these are just some of the things that you need to consider. And then I go one stage further and I say, well, okay, that's great, but how do I do it? And here are some of the ways in which I have done it, which hopefully will help you. Again, if you have other thoughts and ideas, please feel free to share them. Now, one of the really important ones, and I always recommend this to people, is have testimonials. It's not just about having testimonials that say what a great individual you are, although those are great, I don't disagree, but it comes back to what you've achieved. So maybe a client with whom you've worked for 1 year, 6 months, 10 years, doesn't matter. Ask them for a testimonial or referral, if you like. Could be a referral, you've done a fantastic job. The great thing about testimonials is they speak to your achievement. They speak to your character. They speak to your competence and your ability, and they reassure someone else who might be looking for you or your services that you are the man or the woman or the company for the job. So I've had corporate testimonials where they've talked about my company. The person has written to me, and by the way, you have to ask for these, so they don't just happen. You ask for testimonials. I have a whole range of testimonials depending on the sector and what I want to have a testimonial on, whether it's on speaking, keynote speaking, whether it's in terms of service I've given a particular client, whether it's in terms of mentoring and coaching, business that I've done, whatever it happens to be, gather those up, because you will look at those and you look at those and you go, I'm pretty good actually. I'm pretty good. That will motivate and give you encouragement. Of course, thank you notes and cards, which we don't do much of, but I have thank you notes and cards from various companies or individuals, which I keep preciously because they're so important. And I look back and I go, yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. Inevitably, you can ask your mentor or your coach if you have one. If you don't have one, you've heard me say this before. I have coaches, I've had coaches, really important, got mentors as well, because you can't do and see everything. You don't have 360-degree vision all the time. Someone's going to be there to say, and maybe your coach or your mentor says, well, here's why this happened to you. And oh, by the way, this is a repeating pattern and you need to break that cycle. So here's how you do it. So talk to your coach or your mentor. Of course, talk to a friend, but a close friend. The important thing in these two sections, whether it's mentor, coach, or friend, you want to have someone who is not going to judge you. These are non-judgmental, non-criticizing people. That's why it's here as the more positive elements. This is not someone you'd go to whether as a friend, it could be a business partner or somebody you know who you respect. Maybe they're not a friend, but you respect them. But you want to share for them to listen, to give you their thoughts and ideas about how you can improve or how you can avoid it for next time. You're not looking for people to critique what you've done. This is positive space, okay? Positive space, because you need love and encouragement and being surrounded. That's why I title this Channeling Negative Energy or Experience. But then at the end of the day, whatever happens, you must acknowledge and know that leadership has a price. Leadership has a price. There is a price to pay. Sometimes that price is unfair. Sometimes that price is way too expensive. But whatever it is, if you want to be a leader or grow to be an even more successful leader, it'll come with all sorts of things that will impact you personally, professionally, emotionally, but you need to protect yourself in those ways. So I hope this has helped to give you some ideas and thoughts wherever you are in your journey. Please feel free to like, share and comment, and of course subscribe to the channel so you know when other videos are becoming available. So until next time, I wish you all the best and I'll see you soon.